1. Kim, from England.
Well, I've been living in Brazil now for a long time, and my friends here always say that there's real time and then there's Brazilian time. And I think it's true in a way. There is Brazilian time, and it moves a bit more slowly. So if a meeting starts at 10 o'clock, you don't have to be there at 10 o'clock. You can come maybe 15 or 20 minutes later, and that's fine. Or if people invite you for a party at 7 o'clock, you definitely shouldn't arrive at 7 o'clock because it will be too early and no one will be there. You should arrive maybe half an hour or even an hour later. Some friends of mine here are from the UK and Germany, and they grew up with this idea that you always have to be punctual, and they sometimes find it quite difficult when people don't show up on time. But I really like it. It's so much more relaxed, and I think people have more time for each other, and that's really important. The funny thing is that because I'm from England and people know that English people are supposed to be punctual, they expect me to show up on time. They always say, "No, you mustn't be late. You must come on time," even though they're often late themselves. We always laugh about that.
2. Will, from the USA. I remember when I was working in Nigeria, there were a few things I had to get used to. Like, for example, if you're talking to someone you don't know well, you shouldn't look right at them. And you mustn't look them in the eye. Instead, you look down slightly. And when I was first there, I found it really strange. I thought, well, don't people like me or what? But in fact, it's a sign you respect the other person. So I had to get used to that. Actually, it's the opposite from the USA. In the USA, you should definitely look the other person in the eye when you talk. People think that shows you're honest. But in West Africa, people think that seems aggressive, and it's polite to look away slightly. But I have to say, I never really got used to it. I always wanted people to look at me. That's my culture, I guess. 3. Tasia, from Greece.
I've been in Britain for a couple of years now, so everything seems fairly normal to me, but one thing I still find a bit strange is attitudes towards children, especially bedtimes. Like if you're getting together in the evening and there are adults and children, at a certain time, maybe 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, all the children have to go to bed. And after that, it's just adults. And for me, that seems really strange because in Greece, children can usually stay up as long as they want. If there's a party going on or a family get-together, they don't have to go to bed at a fixed time. If they feel tired, they can just lie down for a bit. And my friends in the UK tell me it's important. They have to sleep because they have school the next day and so on, and I do get that. I can see it's very sensible and their children probably learn better. But I just think children should join in the life of the family, and it's a pity if they can't be part of it, That seems more important to me. Japan has by far the highest number of vending machines per person in the world. In fact, it has 5.6 million of them. That's one vending machine for every 20 people. These machines sell all sorts of things from coffee to bananas, flowers to umbrellas. In a busy society, they play an important role. It's much cheaper for sellers to run a vending machine than it is to run a shop. And customers love them because they can buy things more quickly and easily. And we're not talking here just about drinks and cold snacks. In Japan, there are even vending machines that serve hot food. Japanese students love curry and rice. It's one of the country's most popular meals. And, sure enough, There are actually a few places where you can get it hot and ready to eat straight from a machine. That's definitely more convenient than cooking at home. But is curry and rice from a machine as good as curry and rice from a restaurant? Our reporter Luke went to the small town of Awashi to find out.
Okay, I've just put my 500 yen into the vending machine and I'm waiting for my curry and rice to appear. It's taking a bit longer than I imagined. Okay, so my meal is here. I just have to open the packet of steamed rice. The curry smells... well, it smells okay, like a lot of instant curries. Right, let me go and find somewhere to sit down and try it. Okay, this will do. Well, this is fine. It's actually much better than I expected. What can I say? I think it might be the best vending machine meal I've ever eaten. Just not the best curry I've ever eaten. For 500 yen, that's less than £4. I can't really complain. But I think next time I'll spend a bit more and go to a proper restaurant.
Part 1.
Hi. Am I late?
No, you're right on time.
So are you ready to go shopping? I am so excited. I still can't believe you're going to ask Becky to marry you.
Well, I've been thinking about that.
Oh no, don't tell me that you've changed your mind.
Oh no, not at all. I just don't know how to do it.
What do you mean?
Well, do you think I should take her somewhere special?
Yes.
Maybe Paris? I was thinking I could propose at the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Wow, just like in the movies.
Do you think that's too much?
No, but is it what Becky would really like?
I just don't know. What do you suggest?
Well, if I were you, I'd take her somewhere special.
Exactly, like Paris.
I mean, special for the two of you. Like Mark took me to the place where we first met. It was really romantic because he clearly thought about it. Where did you two first meet?
At the office where we both worked.
Oh, okay. But there must be somewhere special.
Maybe. How about the restaurant where we had our first date?
Now that sounds like a possibility. Anyway, let's go look for this ring.
Part 2.
So what about the ring? What would you buy? Big diamond, right? So she can show it to her friends.
Seriously? Tom, do you know Becky at all? It's much better to buy something that's her style, something that you think she'll like. She doesn't need to show off.
I'm getting this all wrong.
That's why I'm here. Come on. How about that ring?
Oh, that's a nice one.
It's £1,500.
I don't believe it. That's ridiculous.
Tom, it's Becky, over there.
You're kidding. What should we do?
Quick, let's go in.
Jeff.
I like eating out, but I don't really like expensive restaurants. It's not the money so much as the atmosphere. The waiters are often quite unfriendly, and you feel you have to talk quietly, or I do anyway. No one seems to be very relaxed. And the food can be good, but you don't often get much on your plate. I'd much rather go somewhere where the food's good and you don't have to pay so much.
Fabio.
I love going to cafes, either with friends or on my own. I sometimes take a book or a newspaper to read, or I just order a coffee and sit there. I sometimes start talking to someone. In fact, I've got quite a good friend who I met in a cafe. We started talking and then found out we both liked the same kind of music. I like pavement cafes best. You don't have to think about anything. You can just sit and watch the world go by. It's a great way to pass time, I think. Very relaxing.
Carla.
I really love dancing. so I often go out with a group of friends to a club in the evening. It's such a good way to spend the evening. We usually order some food, maybe just some starters and some grilled meat, and something to drink, and then we start dancing. There's a favorite place of mine where they have live music and we all dance Latin American dances, like salsa or merengue. It's quite cheap. You have to pay something to get in, but it's not much, and it's always full of people, maybe 200 people all dancing. It's got an amazing atmosphere.
We must be early. Nobody else has arrived yet.
They work at the same office, so they may know each other.
She might not be in. The lights are all out.
That can't be Mark's car. He told me it was in the garage.
It's cold in that house.
It must be cold in that house.
It may be cold in that house. It might be cold in that house. It could be cold in that house.
It may not be cold in that house. It might not be cold in that house.
It can't be cold in that house.
It isn't cold in that house.
This bill can't be right. I only ordered a salad.
There must be a mistake.
She isn't answering the phone. She might be listening to music.
What are you reading?
Franz just sent me a link to this list of 5 reasons why small towns are better than cities. What are you laughing at? Small towns are better than cities.
Yes, if you want to have nothing to do and never meet anyone new.
Well, I loved growing up in a small town. There's a real sense of community. People care about you. It's like you belong to one big family.
Yes, I know you liked it, but I've always been a city boy. I love being in the centre of things. There's so much going on here. Cinemas, restaurants, museums. And there are lots more work opportunities in big cities than in a small town.
But there's also more crime. Life's more dangerous here.
Actually, research has shown that it's safer to live in the city.
Really? I find that hard to believe.
Yes, they did a study that compared the number of accidents in country and city areas. And in the country, there was a much higher number of accidents than in the city, car crashes, mainly because people drive more in the countryside.
That makes sense if you think about it. And hospitals are nearer, I suppose, so you get help more quickly.
Exactly. So it's actually safer to live in the city. And it's better for the environment.
Really? How do you work that out?
Well, you can't rely on public transport in the countryside like you can in the city, so you have to drive more. It's been proved that if you live in the city, you actually have a smaller carbon footprint, especially if you live somewhere with good public transport.
I've definitely noticed that I walk more now I live in the city. Everything's closer, I suppose. And it is nice not to have to get into the car just to go to a supermarket.
You see, there are a lot of advantages to living in a city. You can't argue with that.
No, I can't. There are definitely advantages. But I still miss my little hometown.
Do I look okay, Tom?
You look great. You've got nothing to worry about.
No, I really hope your parents like me.
Of course they will. You'll be fine. Dad, this is Becky.
Hello, Becky. I'm Michael. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And this is my mum, Charlotte.
Hello. It's lovely to meet you at last.
Oh, you too.
Thank you. They're lovely.
Take a seat, Becky.
Oh, thank you. Would you excuse me for a moment? I just need to check on the food.
Of course. Is there anything we can do to help?
Oh, no. It's all under control.
So, Martin.
Michael.
Michael. I expect you're excited about the match this afternoon.
I'm not really a football fan, to be honest. I prefer golf.
Oh, I see.
Tom, do you think you could give me a hand in here?
Sure. So, do you play golf?
No. So, Caroline, Tom tells me you're an architect. That must be very interesting.
Oh, yes, I really enjoy it. In fact, at the moment,
Here
I'm
we
working
go.
on...
Oh, this looks delicious.
It's my own recipe.
What's in it?
It's chicken and mushroom.
Oh,
Is something wrong?
She's a vegetarian.
and I'm allergic to mushrooms.
What? Tom, why didn't you tell us?
I sent you an email yesterday. Didn't you see it?
Oh no, we didn't.
I'm really sorry, Becky. Let me get you something else.
Oh no, Caroline, it's fine, really. Is it okay if I just have some bread and butter?
No, we can do better than that. I'll get you a green salad.
Oh, okay. That would be lovely, thanks.
Becky, my mum's name is Charlotte, not Caroline.
Oh no, how embarrassing.
Thank you. So I'd like to begin today with something that the British writer Theodore Dalrymple once said. Walking through the streets of the city where he lives, he starts to notice piles of rubbish everywhere he looks. And not just any rubbish, but the rubbish left behind by people who have bought food. And not just any food, but fast food, junk food. Seeing all this, he asks himself, what did it mean, all this litter? At the very least, it suggested that an Englishman's street is his dining room, as well as his dustbin. I wanted to share this with you because, well, partly because it is true, of course. Anyone who lives or has lived in a modern British city will recognise that description. But I have another reason for sharing that story with you, and that is that I want you to understand that pollution is not just something that happens to the natural environment or even to the wildlife that lives in it. It happens here, where we live. As I will explain during this talk, we cannot expect to improve the natural world if we do not first improve the condition of our own streets and cities. How can we expect to protect the environment from pollution when our own streets are full of rubbish? In other words, we need to clean our own streets before we can even dream about preventing pollution in the rainforests of the Amazon or the seas and oceans. And it is important to understand that the damage that we do to the world is not just out there. It is here and with us all of the time. And we also need to remember that when we do damage to our environment, we are actually doing damage to ourselves. So my talk today is called Save Yourself. And my message is simple. We have to help ourselves before we can hope to help wildlife or the environment. My talk is going to be in 3 parts. First of all, I will say some more about the problem of rubbish in the local areas where we live. It is now possible for us to manage our rubbish in a way that is environmentally friendly, but we don't. So in this part of my talk, I'm going to be asking, why not? Why, when it is possible to be more environmentally friendly, do most people seem not to care? Next, I will discuss the problem of people. There are currently 7 billion of us in the world, and that is almost twice the number of people living in the world 50 years ago. For this reason, I will suggest that we need to change people's minds, and I will also describe some ways of doing this. Ways that I hope, will be successful in the future. Finally, I will show how protecting your local area is the first step to protecting the planet for future generations of children.
I've got my English exam tomorrow morning.
Oh, really? So what time do you have to be at school?
Well, the exam starts at 9 o'clock, so I mustn't be late.
I think you ought to leave earlier than normal, in case there's a lot of traffic.
Yes, that's a good idea.
And what are you going to do after the exam?
Well, I don't have to stay at school in the afternoon, so I can come home for lunch.
Fine. Just 2 more things. It says on this information sheet that students must show their identity cards to the examiner before the exam.
Don't worry, I always take my ID card with me to school.
It also says you can't use a dictionary during the exam, so don't take one with you.
Yes, I know. I'll leave it at home.
OK, good. By the way, it's 10 o'clock. You shouldn't go to bed late tonight.
No, you're right. I'll go up now.
OK, good night. And good luck for tomorrow.
So where do you think I should take my mother on holiday?
If I were you, I'd take her somewhere warm, like Italy.
You've been to Italy lots of times, haven't you? Where would you recommend taking her?
Well, you should definitely go to Rome. It's such a beautiful city.
That's a good idea. And when would you go?
Let me see. Well, it's not a good idea to go in July or August, as it's much too hot for sightseeing then. It's much better to go in May or June, when it isn't quite as hot.
And where do you think we should stay in Rome?
Well, there are some lovely hotels in the centre, but they're at least €200 a night.
You're kidding. I had no idea it would be that expensive. I can't afford to pay that much.
Oh, well, in that case, it's probably worth finding a hotel outside the centre then.
Yes, that makes sense. Thanks for your advice.
Hi, Matt.
Hi.
Hi, Pariah. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. This is my friend Sylvie, who I'm always talking about.
Hi, Matt. Nice to finally meet you.
Hi, Sylvie. You too. So, what are you two up to?
Well, you know, I said in my text message that our English course is almost over.
Yeah, right. It's gone really quickly, hasn't it?
It really has. Anyway, we're planning to celebrate with a meal out.
Yes, but we don't really know Liverpool very well.
So we were sort of hoping you might be able to recommend some places to eat out?
That would be really great.
Yeah, sure. No problem at all. I mean, I'm not from Liverpool either, but I've lived here for quite a few years now, and so I think I know it pretty well. Okay. So how many people is the dinner for?
Oh, 18, I think.
Yes, well, there are 18 students in our class, but we'd like to invite our teachers, Philippa and Sarah, too.
Oh, yes, we definitely want them to come too.
Okay, so that's dinner for 20 people.
Yes. Oh, actually, no. I've just remembered. Hiromi, one of the students, she wants to bring her husband, Shigeru, so that would be 21.
Okay, so you'll need quite a big restaurant then. There's nothing worse than waiting all night for one poor chef to try to prepare hundreds of starters and main courses.
Yes, that's true.
But also, we'd like to go to a place that's, how do you say this in English? We don't want to go to a big company place, you know, one of those places like Star Noodles or Wonderful Burgers, or any of those kinds of places. We want to go to a, you know, something more like a family restaurant.
Yes, I know what you mean. You don't want to go to any chain restaurants.
That's right. No chain restaurants.
Sure. Okay, so places to eat out. Well, you should definitely look at restaurants in East Village. In fact, if I were you, I'd go to the Thai House. It's a really nice restaurant, and their seafood dishes are especially delicious. They're not too spicy, but the food is always really fresh there.
That sounds nice. But we were thinking that this is an English course, so we'd like to go to an English restaurant.
Yes, I mean, do you know any places that do British food? Or even better, food from Liverpool?
Ah, I see what you mean.
But not fish and chips.
Don't worry, I knew what you meant. Well, it's probably worth going to Sarah's Bistro. They do a really good scouse.
Scouse? What's that?
It's a dish that's local to Liverpool. It's a kind of lamb stew, really tasty, although you can get vegetarian scouse there now too.
That sounds perfect.
Yes, where is it?
Well, do you know the traffic lights on the corner of Danielle Street and Porch Road?
Yes.
Well, you turn left there and go up Double Street until you see a cash machine. Turn right there and you're there.
Oh, thanks so much, Matt.
Yes, thank you. That's great.
No problem.
Some new people have just moved into the house next door.
Yes, I know. I saw them yesterday when they arrived. I think they're French.
No, they can't be French. I heard them speaking a language that sounded like Spanish.
Oh, really? They can't help me with my French homework then?
They could be Portuguese.
That's true. Portuguese and Spanish sound alike.
Is it a family or a couple?
It must be a family. They must have 2 or 3 children.
How do you know that?
Because I saw some children's bikes in their garden. Also, there was another woman in the car when they arrived yesterday. She was older than the mother.
She might be the children's grandmother.
No, she can't be their grandmother. She looked too young.
Or she could be their aunt. Or she might not be a relative at all. She may just be a friend. She might be helping them to unpack their things.
Why don't we go and say hello?
But they might not speak English. It could be really embarrassing.
They must speak English. I just saw them speaking to one of our neighbours, and they seem to understand each other.
OK, is it my turn yet?
Not yet. You have to miss your turn this time because you only got 3 ones, remember?
Oh, yes, I forgot. So whose turn is it now?
It's mine! Yay! Okay, come on, be lucky. Give Katia the score she needs. Okay, so I've got 2 6s. And what's that one? I can't see it from here.
It's a 4.
Okay, so a 4 and 2 6s. 16, is that good?
Yes, you can move 3 places and you get a dream question.
Ooh, excellent. Go on then.
OK, you have 1 minute to describe your dream home to the other players. So just to Luis and Daniela, but not me. Every player has to draw what you describe, but with their eyes closed.
I can't draw to save my life.
Yes. Just take a pencil and be quiet. OK, Katia? Close your eyes, Luis. OK, so, Katia, are you ready? Good. So, 1 minute from now.
Okay, so, my dream home. Let me see. Okay, I know. So, it would be in Moscow, right in the center, in a fantastic location somewhere in a really nice neighborhood near to Pushkin Square. Okay, and it would have to be on the top floor of a really big building so that I could see the Kremlin and even Red Square from my window.
What kind of building?
A really big one.
Yes, but what kind of building? Old? New?
Oh, I see. Okay, you're right. Yes. Okay, well, really new. Like from the 1990s or 2000s. In fact, from any time after 2010. So, it would have lots of shiny metal and glass on the outside and lots of gold and marble on the inside. Because actually, my dream home isn't a house, but a luxury apartment. And it would be huge. I mean really, really big. And it would have a balcony along one side. The balcony would be really wide so that I'd have enough space for lots of flowers and a garden and a table where I could have picnics and parties. Oh, and actually, it would also have a really, really big square dance floor.
What about inside the apartment? They have to draw that too.
Oh, man, you're kidding, right?
No, and close your eyes.
Oh.
Okay. Inside the apartment would be completely different from the building. It would be decorated just like a room in an Irish country cottage. So there would be lots of white walls and dark brown wood. and really old things. The kitchen would have an old metal oven where I could make cakes and bread and things. And I'd also...
Time's up. Okay, Picasso, let's have a look at... Oh!